Oh.
No, okay.
Oh.
We're connected. Give us a moment.
It's on YouTube.
Still
Still
also.
trying to find it on Facebook. There.
The lullaby song reminding me of another classical piece.
Hey, Pico.
Hello. Yeah, this is like super plugged this late because we had a good game today.
It's been a while since we had a game.
Yeah.
Admittedly.
It's been a difficult time, so a lot of the RPG stuff kind of has like bumps and downs. Wow, it's we have Julius and we have Pico. We'll just give it a bit. Give some time for people to join. Hopefully, people join. If not, it's okay. We will just hang out together.
And there's no reason we wore our Night Vale politics election shirts.
Yeah, these are shirts. These are like limited shirts from the Night Vale elections. So it's for the faceless old woman who secretly lives in your home. And Hiram McDaniels, you know, he's like an actual 5-headed dragon.
But who cares?
But who cares, right? Elections have nothing to do with today's episode.
I do feel I have a pimple growing here.
Let's share this on the stream with you.
It hurts. The surface hurts.
I'm very mushy after that episode. It's a good episode.
It was. I liked how they approached it visually. And as much as I felt there were
homages,
yeah, it's still
references.
It was still nicely done.
Yes,
it was still just enough to be flashy, but still enough to be emotionally impactful.
And it was very Trek. Trek, no. GIF search on Facebook is inferior to GIF search on Twitter.
Yeah, it's like they only allow one word. And they'll ignore all other words.
Yeah, then it's like super bonk. Who are these people? They are pulling up for me.
Yeah, I guess 3 more minutes and we'll officially start. Or do you want to officially start?
No, I think we can wait a bit. I mean, as much as it's great to talk to Pico, it would be nice to have more friends join us. The stream count seems to be dropping. But that's okay. Wow, it's really not giving me a good result.
Yeah, you might have to add keywords and hope the keyword helps narrow it down, but it's weird how Facebook approaches it.
I don't know what's wrong with their GIF search.
See? It's just
just first terms. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll make one last attempt.
2 minutes and we officially start.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, my syntax is wrong. I'll fix this later.
Hmm.
Boop, 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 boop. So now it's like weird, like I can't even see
Yeah,
Pico is still there
it
because then
might,
it looks like it's just the.
he might have lost the connection too.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just do the episode. And ultimately, it's an episode that'll be online for people to see in the future.
Is
But see, now it's 4. So, well, who are the others? We do not know.
I'm annoyed because then I have a typo in this one. So I'll delete this before someone likes it. Then I'll fix it later. Hiya.
Oh, there, Mamyo.
Hello. Wingapo. Hello.
I'm waving with a shark.
That is a thing that you do.
Hello. Hello there.
You've lost the shark voice, huh?
I know. It was that that sort of a voice. It had a breathy.
Yeah. Well, one version of it. I don't know. You're very inconsistent with Sharky. He just has voices.
How sure are you it's just the same shark?
It's literally the same shark on your
It's the
hands.
same puppet. But is it the same shark?
Whatevs.
Well, might as well start. This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet. Our little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
This is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us. We talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining again. Yay! So we're about to spend the next 30 minutes talking about what we're watching this November. We tend to have these little episodes wherein it's really just, sharing what we're experiencing
Yeah.
or going through and connecting with our viewers.
Yeah, this is become a monthly thing for some time now, and the big advantage is that we don't really have to script or plot this
Mhm.
out. We just talk about what we remember, and we'll go from there. But I think top of the hour is that I want to talk about yesterday, because yesterday we signed up for a online concert
Yes.
activity thing live stream from Kylie Minogue, which was her Infinite Disco,
Mhm.
and it was an hour, a solid hour of her performing songs, mostly from her new album Disco,
But some surprise
and some
twists.
surprise twists in her old stuff or
Yes.
remixes of her old stuff.
Mhm.
Toby, what did you think of the Infinite Disco?
I feel dumb that I didn't realize that the reason the set was awesome with all the lights and all the effects was because it made us feel like we were inside a disco ball.
Well, this is Toby's interpretation, but I
And-
accept this interpretation.
But yeah, for a concert that's done in that way,
Yeah.
that was very visually satisfying. The LED floor, the laser lights, the spotlights, the way the choreography worked with the lights, the way if the lights would be wild and moving, the dancers would then have more subtle motions in order for the contrast to be visible. It was just amazing.
Yeah. So, and basically the setup was like they had this LED floor, and then at least from the sides and behind, there were definitely visible light
Mhm.
sources. And then Kylie starts in the very middle on a platform, like above or on the
Mhm.
LED floor, and then it kind of evolves from there. I mean, obviously it wasn't like a recorded as live situation like what we do here.
Mhm.
It was definitely
Pre-recorded.
pre-recorded. It
Lots of
was
cameras,
well
lots
thought
of
out,
cuts.
multiple cuts, multiple
Mhm.
camera angles, but it did not feel like it did feel as close as possible to like a concert-like experience,
Mhm.
even though it wasn't a concert. Because I mean, like, what makes a concert a concert? It's really that sort of you don't get I guess you don't get album mixes of songs. You
Mhm.
get ad lib stuff. You get more interaction to a degree with
Mhm.
the performer or performers. And this didn't quite have all of that. I
Mhm.
mean, you can't really interact with the video,
Yeah.
but it still felt very I felt connected. I
Mhm.
felt like it was a really a nice moment.
I liked also how the numbers really made you think disco, but
Mm.
did not feel retro disco, despite
Yeah.
having retro elements. Like the fashion was nicely old schoolish
But
because it wasn't really old
clean
school.
modern.
Yes,
Yeah.
even the dance steps. I mean, we know Kylie from many know Kylie from the more recent videos wherein she comes up with really, I guess I could say geometric dance steps
Mm.
or really stylish dance steps. And then here it went almost minimalist in some degrees. Like there was that one point where they were just swaying as if they were walking,
But yeah, the march
but it
forward
looked so good.
because the lights around it were so
Mhm.
complicated. So yeah, we're super like I super appreciate the thought that went into it. And
Mhm.
for a $20 event, it was
Mhm.
$20 to sign up for a 1 hour event.
Mhm.
But it felt super awesome. I don't feel like we wasted money on it.
Mhm.
I don't think we just bought a very expensive video we can only watch once.
I don't feel like we just watched the Zoom video.
Yeah, I think
And-
that's it too.
And that's what makes you feel the value. I mean, it's not that any event now during lockdown has to be a huge thing, but they made the effort to still feel like it was a fancy thing. It didn't feel like it was a lockdown thing.
Yeah. But you could totally feel like the performers were socially
Social
distant
distancing,
from one
it was
another.
there.
Yeah, and or at least very socially distant from Kylie
Jill just adds, you get the actual voice from the singer.
for concerts. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then this one had it did have original vocals, and I guess not standard album mixes.
Yeah, but
is the way to
and
say
then the
it.
backup vocalists even had moments
Yeah.
where you could see them.
And they had her backup singers were there, so it added
Mhm.
an almost choral orchestral feel at times.
I have to admit, I also like how Kylie finds a way to catch you off guard when she does her visuals.
Mm.
Like, projected walls, everyone knows about that.
LED floor,
but when
not
she-
new.
But when
Also.
she used projected walls for some of her music videos before, she found something different. Like she did the motion capturing thing wherein the patterns are trailing after her while she was on the floor. And then she had the thing with the lights in her hand so she could frame the lights herself.
Yes.
For this concert, she still used an LED floor, but then she found again new ways to do it. I mean, the geometric shapes with the holes, we've seen that in projection mapping.
Mm-mm.
But then she had those laser lights that
Toby
were
couldn't get over
that
this.
are cutting lines on the floor.
Yeah, so laser lights from the ceiling, slow moving across the floor, and then the floor would respond with a pattern.
And I wasn't even sure if that was the LED floor or if the laser was actually leaving an
No,
after
but it
image.
was a
I
slow
don't know.
trail. It
was
had to be the
crazy.
LED. So that
It
means
looked like it looked like they were cutting the floor.
they super mapped out the so it was computer coordinated light assistance, and
That
it
was
was
so
great.
good.
And then there was like iconic things like they had the lights from behind her come up, and then it made like a fence,
Mhm.
which also became like a runway
Mhm.
for her in the middle, and then her dancers
would cut through the
and the
fence.
dancers are like reaching through every now and then, which cuts the light, which it was so good. It was
And
so
then-
good.
Fashion choices, the clothes were I don't know how to explain it in the sense that they weren't white clothes, but thanks to the lighting, there were instances they looked like they were all in the same color. So her gold outfit stands out.
Yeah, because they really had like strong saturations of
Mm.
reds and orange for the lighting.
And then at some point, they're all doing their dance steps, but then the floor has different sections and different colors. So now you have dancers in blue, dancers in purple, dancers in red, and that color scheme gives the depth, and it's
Yeah,
that's
so
so smart.
so for friends of mine on Instagram and Facebook, you would have seen me. I spammed a lot of videos from like maybe each
Mhm.
of the numbers or something, just to have moments that I could like look back at, and it just it took us away. It took us away. I mean, to be fair, Disco the album only came out on Friday, and super love that. I mean, like
Okay,
it's
I know we're talking about watching, but we have to talk about the album.
yeah,
We
yeah,
have to talk about the album.
because it's um it is literally a disco album. It is Kylie has made a new disco album. As much as she has had like showgirl tunes and disco songs
Mhm.
all and off throughout the years, but this album is, oh my god, in the same way that Golden felt like she kind of wanted to do something country but different, and then this one is very disco but still different. It's not just retro, and
Hey, Mitch.
and it plays true to form. This is always my
Hey,
theory,
Andre.
that even when Kylie has a sad message in her song,
Yes,
the song sounds happy,
the sound still,
and you
the
can
sound
dance
is
to
still
it.
empowering. It's still
Yeah, there's that lift, there's that drive, and you feel that so much. I mean, Monday Blues. She has a song in this album that's literally called Monday Blues, which is kind of sad about, getting dragged down at the beginning of the week. But it is a bop. It is such a happy, dancey tune that I want to go
and it's
for it.
surprising given it really has a roll call of the days,
Yeah.
but it's done so well that
Mm.
it just gets you catchy and
Yeah. But there, Infinite Disco was amazing, and I'm so glad we booked it. I'm so glad. I mean, I was a little sad that we didn't quite we didn't have we were supposed to have an RPG, a Pendragon RPG on yesterday, that particular Saturday, but it didn't happen. We knew that ahead of time because of conflicts. But then the Infinite Disco came up, and then okay, so we'll do it. And
can enjoy this.
even though it took an hour in the day, it was a great hour. It was a great hour, and I'm just super happy. So that was a special event, and I don't know, I wouldn't mind more of those while we're in quarantine. It was definitely a good example of what whatever a remote broadcast event can be like. Without just being another Zoom call, without just recording them in a studio without people. I mean, they really pushed it so that this is a digital experience. This is something that can only happen because we're in quarantine. It's not just a concert, but it's something still special.
And then the day before that, Kylie had a live stream that we happened to catch
on Facebook. She was just. It was like let's listen to my album video.
And she's showing off the LP. She's showing off the stuff, and then okay, let's play the next song, and then the song's playing, and then she'd either be dancing to it or reading out comments people are sending, or suddenly remembering something. When I wrote this song,
it was super random because it was just very genuine, and it was a nice touch point. I'm just glad it happened. So yeah, I mean, we super love Kylie, so we may one day do a Kylie episode. I don't know. So, but that was that. And then what else are we watching this month? So, late October, early November, guys, we finished Forensic Files.
Yes.
Tragedy. All 9 collections, each collection being 40 plus episodes. We have run out of Forensic Files.
We've run out of quick doses of forensic knowledge and a little bit of drama.
And the knowledge may already be inaccurate or out of date.
Given discoveries and advancements as time has passed.
So our follow-up shows now to kind of replace this niche is that first we watched the Innocence Files, which is like documenting case of the Innocence Project. But that's a lot of drama.
Yeah.
It's like it's not one episode, one case. It's like we track several cases through time.
And it
was okay.
And it has its heavy moments because you realize sometimes the system isn't enough, or there are bad agents out there who, due to whatever reasons, will manipulate things to push their own agendas.
Majority of the cases featured on the Innocence Files are non-Caucasian people. No surprise there. They were people of color. And then we finished that already, and now we're just wrapping up with Exhibit A. which is another. No, we finished Exhibit A, which is another one that also examines shoddy forensics.
Yes.
And then now we're watching the confession tapes, which is the first documentary done by the person who did Exhibit A, which is about shoddy interrogation techniques. So,
so you
yeah,
have
we're in
you
this
have
realm.
people who, during the course of the investigation, were coerced or manipulated to give confessions.
Yeah,
Which in the end
got
you
them
know,
convicted.
And sadly, at least the way the show has presented the facts, them being guilty is still questionable. But since they were caught, or sorry, rather, they were recorded on tape having confessed, regardless of how they were coerced to do that, many jurors just chose to see them as guilty.
Or it's the, as they always point out, it's the problem of if you gave testimony and then you recant your testimony, then both the judge and the jury have to constantly wonder, were you lying then or are you lying now?
Mm-hmm.
So it just throws the whole thing into questionable state, and you need other evidence to possibly exonerate you to really get you out. So more often than not, you see that there are cases of people not getting out, and it's sad.
It's always harder to prove innocence.
Isn't it weird? Because you're trying to prove a negative, right?
Yeah.
Is that you're trying to prove you didn't do it,
Instead
of the other side should be proving you did it.
Yeah, and yes, it is ethically questionable, unfortunately. But as far as actual legal things are concerned, like in one episode, they did discuss that certain techniques illegal in the States were still legal in Canada.
And then
so they did it
was
in
admissible.
Canada.
Yeah.
And
Or things like they're allowed to lie about certain things when interrogating a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And then if the lies lead to them getting a confession, then it's totally legal. And it differs per country and per state. But the fact that you can do that is kind of bothersome. So yeah, so that's our work passive viewing. And then if that's too heavy, there's always Lucifer, which we're still like kind of watching, but not really.
So to temper it, we also have been sneaking in episodes of Miranda.
Yeah, we kind of went back to Miranda because we introduced a friend to Miranda, and that just made us want to watch it again, even if we're lazy and watching really weird subtitled versions of the show on
but
YouTube.
At least they're available, right?
But yeah, then it's just to remind us of the old joke. So Miranda is always feel good stuff. Always worth watching.
If you haven't seen Miranda,
it is such fun.
You must try it. It is such a great show.
And then I guess in main stuff is like today we just before the episode we just got caught up with this week's episode of Star Trek Discovery. So we're already 4 episodes into season 3, and oh my gosh, I think this is going to be my favorite season of Discovery. And Discovery is not my favorite Trek, but this may be my favorite season of Discovery. That's what I gotta say. And yeah, and I'm trying to compose my tweet. I had a version that I didn't like. I have to delete it. But basically, I'm saying that a lot of people are reacting to like some of the BL shows this week had really powerful emotional episodes. I'm sorry, I nearly cried watching today's Discovery because my God,
it is just really well done.
Yeah, I mean the slightly spoilery if you have not seen the previous seasons, but the basic premise of season 3 is they are now in the far future. This old ship, because Discovery is a prequel series to the original series. Now that ship is all the way in the far future, beyond any of the other Treks we have seen, beyond the period of the temporal Cold War, which is featured in Enterprise. It's entirely new ground.
Hence, I guess the title Discovery.
Well, now it works.
Yeah.
It didn't work in the first season.
But now it really feels like
this is something,
uncharted shores of time.
And it's good stuff. And this is like, it is really, I think this season is it has found their voice. It has found their Trek voice, and
it has found their Trek voice. It understands what type of stories it wants to tell. And it now no longer feels handicapped by having to stick to what was done before.
Yeah, because it was a prequel series before.
Yes.
And then they couldn't go beyond what was covered in the original series. So that's always awkward.
Or they always had to find ways to erase what they did as far as history is concerned.
Yeah, so
that it doesn't contradict.
Yeah, because like they have a new, different propulsion system which we never see.
So we'll have to make
in
sure
all
no
of
one else
existing
knows
Trek.
about it. And that. So now with the setting they're in, they're able to have so much more muscles to flex for their narrative chops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mamiya was like saying she's not really a Trekkie, but she did like Firefly and The Expanse. So Discovery, I think, is a decent entry point. Like if you don't know Trek,
yes.
Discovery works. Discovery works. It's very modern styling and sensibilities, and it's an easier Trek to get into.
It's better than the movies.
Which movies? The 2009 reboot and beyond, the Chris Pine movies.
Yes.
I can accept
because those movies feel like
because they're still treading the same ground as the original show,
but trying to be shot as if they were Jason Bourne movies. Discovery
rotating camera,
but Discovery actually feels very nicely there.
But it took a while.
Yeah,
it took a while. The first season felt a little
rough.
I mean, that's me as a Star Trek person.
First season
was rough. Second season was definitely in response to criticism. You could feel that they made changes to respond to criticism. But this third season, very promising. Very promising. Okay. Mitch mentioned she just finished Queen's Gambit. We are
a few episodes.
We just started that this week. So that's definitely part of our more serious watching. It's a show that needs more focus. We are loving it too. We are definitely enjoying it. It's quite intense. I don't know why. Looking at the poster initially, I thought it would be like a spy thing, or like
I think the actress made it look
she
like
has like I'm a
crafting.
Russian operative or something. I was trained in the Red Room situation, so no, it's a chess show. It's a chess show.
I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm loving the cinematography, the attention to detail, the use of sound to highlight things. It's very well crafted.
It's based on a book apparently, so the writing is quite good.
I'm very annoyed that I saw this article though that was like all the something hunks of Queen's Gambit, and I'm like, can you just focus on her because it's her show? Why do we really have to focus on?
Or because it's a female-centric show, then therefore we have to talk about male eye candy in the show, which
because she's amazing in that show.
Really? I'm not into the guys.
The way she acts,
it's intense.
Her brain is calculating.
You can see her thinking, and if that's just acting, it's still great acting.
She knows how to act subtext.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very strong performance there.
I still feel the mom though. They wanted to cast Helena Bonham Carter. It feels like it was written for her, and then they found someone else to do it.
This is Toby's headcanon. I will accept this for now.
What else?
Other shows you're watching.
So I've gotten into a lot of Lindsay Ellis videos on YouTube.
Oh,
she's a content creator.
She's a writer.
And
she's a New York Times best-selling author.
It's amazing how she makes her content. If you've never seen any of her videos, the one that we got into, and that's thanks to Jimpito, was about the
Omegaverse lawsuit.
The Omegaverse.
Maybe this is not the first entry to meet this woman.
But
it's compelling stuff.
But it just draws you in, and the way she covers it was really smart.
The videos are like an hour long, guys. They're really long videos, but they're full on video essays. It's like they really thought about it. They researched.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So they're very fulfilling to watch. And then even her other episodes about are Disney villains going extinct, or her commentary about the Saving Mr. Banks movie, they're worth watching. They're pretty good content.
Yeah. In terms of other stuff, we're still we're still working our way through Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's like kind of in the back burner about what we're watching. It's not as we finished the first season of Twilight Zone, the rebooted Twilight Zone HBO, and we're almost. I think we're like halfway through season 2.
It's hits and misses again.
Yeah. I mean, like there are a lot of friends who are super like, oh my god, it's amazing. It's the beeswax, the she's knees, and I mean it has good moments. It has strong homages to the original Twilight Zone. But then, like any short story collection, so to speak, you're not gonna like all the stories. And I find I think it's not bad, but I think we're a little underwhelmed at times, or like we felt like it builds up and then it doesn't
Yeah,
stick the landing.
for me, that's the problem because Twilight Zone is about the ending.
It's about twists.
It's in as much as the content of every episode is awesome. What makes it Twilight Zone is that ending moment. Whether it's a twist or an aha moment,
Yeah, and then the
or a
closing
kan-uppans
the
moment.
closing narration kind of just walks you out of the theater and like, okay, we gotta go now. Sorry, I know you have questions, but yeah.
And then it's either the aha moment, the irony moment, or as viewers, you knew what the characters should have known. So it's that sort of a feel. In this new one, there are times wait, that was it?
Yeah, and then worse, you have Jordan Peele doing his extra narration. Like, sometimes the narration, instead of being like introspective, thoughtful, just becomes, okay, we're spelling it out. I mean, like,
in case you didn't get it.
Yeah, in case you didn't get it, let me explain what just happened, which we probably didn't have to do it. But it's not a bad show.
It's worth watching.
It has some great episodes. Pico mentions he's burning anime backlogs on Netflix and then watch Goblin Slayer and Arc Enemy and Hero, where Mamiya also says she's going through the One Piece Mermaid Island arc and now at the Punk Hazard arc, and one can be burned out binge watching anime.
Yeah,
I get that. That's why we don't watch a lot of anime.
And it's hard. Well, for me, it's hard to watch anime because I don't like dub. I would prefer to hear the actual voice acting because that kind of tells me better what's really going on in the scene. But it's hard to do that when you're trying to work at the same time or you're trying to write at the same time.
Yeah, there's a bit of a luxury when you can watch subtitled content. I feel like, ironically, subtitled content works a bit better when you're watching alone on a device.
Yes.
Versus if you're watching together on a TV with possibly other distractions.
Yeah.
Then subtitles are a bit of a challenge. It's the only reason why we're watching Dark now is because there's English audio to go with it and not just the original German. We only finished season 1. We're still working on getting our way to season 2 because season 1 was kind of heavy and like, oh, interesting. And then, Discovery happened and all these things.
And then I just tell myself it's like a live streaming video. That's why the mouths don't match.
There's a slight delay. Sorry about that. We are also, of course, like everybody else, getting started on The Mandalorian. The new season of The Mandalorian. It's once again, I get this feeling like, oh, we slowed down because like I felt like the first season had an interesting start, had some filler in the middle, and then
had a main
plot in the end. But then now it's like, oh, we're back to kind of filler material.
Yeah, I feel it's
the pacing. It really is the pacing.
It's to build an audience because it's a new season, so there will probably be new viewers. So they need that initial buy-in, so to speak. Because if it dove immediately to the Darksaber and all that, then you'd be like, what? Wait, what's going on? What show is this?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like if it's a show built for a streaming platform. I mean, because it's a Disney Plus show. Even though it comes out once a week, it's still a Disney Plus show. And then that means that you have easy access to the rest of the first season.
Yeah.
Then I don't know how much hand-holding.
But it wasn't designed like a Netflix show. Wherein
it's not designed to be binged.
Yes, it's not immediately a binge show in terms of design.
With like very strong, definitely like, oh my god, that episode on Tatooine, super like blatant Western cowboyisms, and that's okay. Still have seen The Mandalorian. Oh, I still recommend it. It's a good series. I mean, and then if you're a Star Wars fan, there's some deep cuts. There's like some interesting references to old lore. So there's a lot of love in that show. There is a lot of Star Wars love in that show. What else? There were like movies we watched, but I can't remember them now. They were kind of regrettable. It's like we've been watching a lot of like movies on Netflix.
Well, we watched also a musical. Recently.
Oh, we watched From Here to Eternity, which is that 48-hour stream window is gonna close soon. It's on that the Shows Must Go On channel for like Andrew Lloyd Webber Productions. It was okay. It's based on the book that was also adapted in that classic movie. With the one with the beach scene, but it was a little. it felt a little old school Broadway formula.
Yeah, that's trying to be more modern because the music shifts from very calculated theater tunes to much more modern sounding tunes.
Mm.
So yeah.
So yeah, it was like it's also a hit or miss too. I don't know if we talked about that. We definitely finished Lego Masters,
Hmm.
which was okay as a reality TV show goes.
I think the show redeemed itself from the earlier. It didn't feel like they loved Lego, but later
Yeah,
on, it felt more like they appreciated and love Lego now because they were doing stuff with the certain franchises or stuff using the technology.
yeah. I mean, I still think it was questionable to choose Will Arnett as the
Mhm.
host of Lego Masters. That was kind of off. But the creations themselves, the show itself was pretty good. The contestants are kind of a mixed bag, but hey, that's the case for any reality TV. So what can you do?
Mhm.
For people who might be curious, we have not started on Drag Race Holland, and I'm surprised it's already ending. It's like it's a short season. I don't know, or have we ignored it this long? We haven't gotten around to it despite our Wow Plus subscription.
Hmm.
I pay for an annual, so I'm not as guilty about not watching Wow Plus content every month. So
So we've seen
Yeah.
also The Witches.
oh, we watched the new Witches reboot, remaster, whatever, reimagination. It was okay. It was not amazing. I still love the original.
The
The
practical
earlier
effects of the
the
original.
earlier one that was done, which would had like Angelica Houston as the head witch.
Mhm.
This one had Anne Hathaway. I don't know. Maybe it's too much Devil Wears Prada that it's hard to see her as the villain or something.
I felt she was still too young.
Yeah,
to be the
she
head
didn't
witch.
feel like she really conveyed that she is the matriarch of an organization of witches
And-
around the world.
In the old one, we had the transformation
Mm-mm.
from woman to
Witch.
really distorted, grotesque witch. Here, we had
CG mouth.
the weird flaps and then the weird extending arms.
That was strange. That was strange.
But then-
that was a choice.
But then you have all these weird distortions of the single toe and stuff like that, which I presume are references.
to the book. Yeah,
But I don't know. It didn't feel like it carried well in terms of the visuals. There are concerns of some about the how it's insensitive to disability and the like, which I think
I had not heard this drama.
because the witches are bald and missing limbs and all that, and they're evil. So now people who are
Oh, we're going down that road.
and I think that's going to be a constant issue if we ignore intent.
yeah.
Because anything that then has anyone who is not um, average will be affecting someone.
yeah.
And,
And
it's
and-
even a plus and minus problem wherein if you don't have it, they'll say you erased. But then if you have it, they'll say you're not accurate.
if you don't have enough, it's tokenism. If
So-
you have too much, it's whatever, abusing or
So it's a
commodifying.
so it's a tricky area.
Someone's always gonna be unhappy. And I'm sorry, this is based on a children's book
Mhm.
written by a guy decades ago.
Mhm.
And the original descriptions of the witches were precisely that they wore wigs and gloves to hide their deformities because that was it, and it was funny for children's stuff. It's like Matilda now. I'm sure people can be angry that the Trunchbull is like what? It misrepresents someone who could be potentially
Mhm.
lesbian or transgender. But then really she was just the Trunchbull. She's the villain of the story of a children's book.
And
So I don't know.
I guess my concern is that if we're going to view any such visuals in media as malicious, then it's almost as if we're expecting any content to always have disclaimers. Which then makes it feel like these disclaimers are now less sensitive or less what's the word?
It'll desensitize audiences to what they really mean
Or
over
to
time.
the very least they're less it's not like
Meaningful.
they mean, it's not
you,
like they
you
mean it,
dilute the meaning.
because you'll now have people just putting all these disclaimers to be safe.
Yeah, it's like trigger warnings on social media posts. It's like it's getting a little silly that I mean there are some valid trigger warnings.
Yes,
I'll grant
there
that.
are.
But at the same time, sometimes it's like trigger warning bees. You know, it's like okay. I mean that's gonna be a thing. So
Hmm.
it gets unnecessarily complicated sometimes, and it gets in the way of communicating. I feel.
Yeah, and what frustrates me the most about it is in the end, um, when people complain changes depending on how they personally feel about who is making the material.
Mm.
Because then you'll see similar steps happening in other media. But since they're the people they like more or they write or such support more, then there's no complaints. And it's just so it's about the person then. It's not really about the content, but you're making it sound like it's the content.
Because yeah, you have beef with the person.
So yeah. Because even Sandman had complaints about how why does it still have violence against gay people.
Yeah. And this was like brought up because of the recent
the radio
audio drama
yeah, the
on
audio drama.
Audible. And they said, no, we're not going to change the story. We're not going to change the setting.
Mhm.
It is an artifact of its time, and the stories are still the stories. And
Mhm.
yet, still, for the most part, Sandman is still widely loved. And I still love Sandman.
And even the violence in Sandman wasn't done for violence sake.
Yeah, it wasn't sensationalized violence.
There were reasons behind the events in the story that made sense in the narrative to either empower the characters later on or make them realize things. I mean, let's not lump the at the moment there's violence against an LGBTQIA plus character, then automatically it's questionable content.
Yeah, it's
We
like
have to realize there's
the violence there was still a lot more thoughtful than like later on Green Lantern fridging the girlfriend. I
Mhm.
mean, like it's literally become a trope known as fridging the girl, you know. So that was stupid.
so yeah. So that's my I don't really want to dwell too much on it. But
Yeah,
that's the
we're going
frustrating
to a
thing
weird
about it.
place.
It's
So
yeah. But ultimately, I guess the idea is consider the author's content, consider the material's content, the intent. Why is it presenting those things? And at least bear that perspective when you look at things.
yeah, I mean, ultimately, the story of the witches is a story of children, despite feeling powerless, still finding ways to fight evil and winning. You
Mhm.
know, because yeah, what can you do even when you're not even human? You're transformed into a mouse.
Mhm.
That you're still able to fight these big scary witches.
Because if you're gonna go down the rabbit hole of acceptable and this and that, then you'll realize practically any horror
or
trope
even
or
children's
monster
movie villain.
and anything meant to scare you can be traced back to questionable roots.
Yeah,
Whether it's parents
or it's othering.
yeah, it's
or the
parents,
outcast. Yeah.
making you fear other people because they're from a different race or they're from a different village or they're from all of that can be traced back to that. So you can't really say, just because this one has roots in that, it's bad. You have to realize that there's context, there's intent, and all this and that. What else? Series, we didn't really touch on other series lately.
No, because I mean, Forensic Files. So a lot of our watching is during work hours. So Forensic Files was big, and then, like I wrapped up my Deep Space Nine rewatch, and then we're still wrapping up Enterprise. We are going to get around to Infinity Train. We haven't done it.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into any of the other stuff, friend, like the Blythe Manor and the.
Oh yeah, the Haunting of Bly Manor and stuff. So yeah, I know Toby's trying to wait for me because I said I try to watch it. I'm getting up. I'm building up to it. I'm building up to it, guys. Horror.
And not just that. I'm still going through Homeland.
We still haven't caught up
Yeah.
to watch the last seasons of Homeland together.
And then I've been tempted to get into other shows that have touches on espionage and the like. Everything from The Little Drummer Girl to anyway.
Oh, and then I've decided to finally rewatch Orange is the New Black because we only watched I think the first 2 seasons in our pre-Netflix days, and then now that we actually have Netflix, I never got around to watching and finishing it. So But then, admittedly, I have downgraded it from I don't feel it's something I need to watch with Toby.
Mm.
Like I think I'll just want to finish it and just see how it goes. I think it falls into like what we were talking about on Friday. Like I'm more likely to watch LG because in the end, Orange is the New Black become very
Mhm.
LGBT-ish stories or lesbian
Mhm.
focused. So I'm gonna finish that. But then like Orphan Black, we still want to get around to watching it,
Yeah.
and but we have to start again because we've totally forgotten what happened, and then we'll finish the whole Netflix run. What else? I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think that's pretty much it.
Isn't it weird? I kind of miss looking forward to movies though. Like,
I'm pained thinking of the shows we know that are either canceled or discontinued,
hmm.
or movies that have been literally pushed to.
Yeah, we were supposed to be celebrating Dune by now, but then
Mm,
Dune got pushed to 2021, along with a lot of Warner Brothers
yeah.
slate of
We
movies.
don't
So
know when we'll be able to glimpse Tenet. We have no idea if New Mutants will actually ever now become new, or if it's now the old New
or
Mutants.
even become an actual theatrical release or just
Mm.
some direct to video thing. But yeah, we're still relying mainly on these streaming platforms for
And then we
content.
have stuff like Soul and the like, which
Oh, the new Pixar,
yeah,
the new Pixar.
which we were hearing about earlier on, and now we're all just sad that they're far, far away as well.
Yeah, so I don't know, guys. It's a weird time. Oh, along that note, super random. I had a bunch of G movies promotional tickets that were like I redeemed the points in they set a deadline for redeeming the points in like June or July. And then they were all set to expire end of October.
Hmm.
And like, hey, October ended, but then the theaters weren't open. So what was the point of these G movies rewards? But that's our life. And I know there was like the drive-in pseudo thing at MOA, but that didn't I don't know, it didn't feel like something we wanted to
Yeah,
do. Didn't feel safe. Or at
and
least it didn't feel like a good movie
I
experience.
think oh, this is still the Philippines. It's warm.
Yeah.
I mean, in the states, you have drive-through theaters because it's cooler. So
And then what? Then you'd leave your motor running so that your AC is still on.
yeah, spend
Then
your gas.
yeah, then it's like I don't know, and drain your car battery, things like that. So I don't know. I'm not too keen on the drive-in experience. We're better off just watching movies at home.
Altered Carbon is another show we haven't
We
gotten.
haven't gotten around to watching Altered Carbon. We will watch it. It's like even things like we never finished Hannibal,
Mm.
things like that. Because we're still leaning on the convenience of availability on streaming. There's so many things I want to try. Like my mom says we watch Doc Martin, or we haven't really finished Broadchurch and The Fall.
Mm-mm.
I'm worried it's probably been pulled by now. So things like that. So we'll figure it out, guys. We'll figure it out. But yeah,
Yeah, there's the second 30 minutes.
yeah, I know, but I think we can just wrap up there. I guess I don't know unless there's anything else you want to add or anything you're looking forward to. Because admittedly, I'm not very forward looking at the moment for shows. I'm just like whatever. Toby half the time goes, how did you find this show? And it's literally, oh, it was the one on top on Netflix when I logged in today. It's like, do you want to watch this? And like, okay.
Yeah.
Most of the recommendations are true crime. Ah, blame Forensic Files. May it rest in peace.
So yeah, I guess we'll just keep you updated if we find other stuff to watch in the coming months.
Yeah, and you guys have recommendations. Always feel free to let us know what you're watching too, and we can compare notes. I am looking. Oh, the one thing I'm looking forward to is the new season of The Expanse on Amazon, but that's like end of the year. So that's the only thing on my calendar.
Mhm.
And of course, Picard when it comes out.
And I guess the last thing would be we still try to catch whatever live stream shows or pre-recorded shows the drag queens release.
Oh yeah, yeah, we do. We definitely do. So there's like there's little mini shows that have like cropped up
Mhm.
over the months of quarantine. Like Precious, Gigi, and Venus always do like Divine Bar. Turing has her Thursdays on Wednesdays.
Mm.
And then sometimes there's what is Atutan, which is uh which is Turing Anita, Antutan.
Yeah, Antutan.
Anita, Turing, and Mrs. Tan
Yes.
doing shows sometimes. We didn't get to catch the show on Saturday because we were gaming, but
And then there are the other, I guess you could say, bigger budgeted or bigger prepared shows like LSD and
the Spaces Manila live stream stuff. That's pretty interesting. Oh, and then Spaces has already announced their new Spotlight drag competition. So I don't think it's gonna be like RuPaul's Drag Race. It sounds like they're gonna try to make it more like The Voice in the sense that there are mentors because they're really looking to reach out to new drag talent that are looking for
help them, get noticed.
So that's exciting. That's exciting because there have been some questionable drag shows on Facebook. I'm not gonna name names. So this is the community's answer to that. To let's do our own show and let's do it right. So I'm very hopeful. Many of the mentors are ODivas or used to be ODivas. So that's a good group of talent there. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I guess we can wrap up with that.
Yep, we can wrap up with that.
That was more than 30 minutes. We had a lot of fun and we hope you will join us again next time.
If you have questions or suggested topics for future episodes, fill up the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. I'm going to have to start plugging or putting out questions, by the way, that we will have Precious Paula Nicole as a guest on Friday. If you have questions that you want us to ask Precious about her drag career, then feel free to also let us know. You can use the Google form. You can follow us on Twitter. Whoa, I double-click. Follow us on Twitter, Altobino Shade, RG Sunico.
You can also check out our blog, that's baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know what you're watching, or did you like any of the shows, and were you also crying when you with this week's episode of Discovery entitled Forget Me Not.
That was so good.
So good. And then be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks for watching.